really designed today to kind of tie together fintech organizations and sustainability. Lendified essentially is using an artificial intelligence machine learning model to take all kinds of different types of data sets. It can be financial information data, it can be social media data, it can be deep web information, it can be information that we gather and put together in terms of third-party sources of views. And out of that, we're able to create a risk profile that really can be used for anything. It can be used for making decisions around whether a business or a person is a good risk in any way, whether it's for a lending product, whether it's an insurance product, you name it. And risk evaluation is really at the core of what we do. Now, how does all of this get back to sustainability? How does what I just talked about relate back to, let's say, reducing a carbon footprint or doing something like that? And so there is very, very direct ways. The benefit of fintech, in addition to removing friction, is that it allows for much better decision-making on information, both on the part of, let's say, a user of a fintech application, whether it be a consumer or a business, or on the part of, let's say, a centralized large organization that's using that information to make decisions. And so I'll give you a very quick example of a fintech application using solar power. How do these things come together? So recently I was working with a large chain of pet food supplies. And so it's a franchise, a national franchise, and they were looking to install a new lighting system into their stores, which would cut the energy usage by 50%. But it so happens that every store is owned by a franchisee, and the financial position of each store is different, and the ability for a franchisee to pay upfront for a large cost on a lighting system is not necessarily the same. So here's where fintech and AI come together with a blockchain application. So there's ways today to be able to measure with a smart meter the usage of electricity. There's ways today with a fintech app that you could have on your phone to measure what cuts you've made in that electricity. And then there's ways for that to be put into a blockchain environment where you can create tokens. And this starts to get a little bit esoterical, but tokens which are valued. The same way that a monetary value is put on something, tokens can be traded in a virtual world, just like a cryptocurrency. And so at the end of the day, what you can see is you can actually create a fintech application which can drive behavior, let's say, of franchisees in this pet food chain to actually take action to install systems which cut electricity and reduce energy usage. And all of it relies on reliable information that's properly processed using AI and then can be stored in a blockchain environment and turned into tradable tokens that investors can then invest into.
What are the advantages? Let's get down sort of some basics about AI as it applies to insurance. Well, I think a lot of the same advantages you hear from other people. Of course, increased efficiencies, the ability to reduce or eliminate repetitive tasks. And by that, once we do that, we can either redeploy resources or ultimately choose to reduce them and improve cost structures and efficiencies. But most importantly, and I think as I tried to allude to in my two sentences, we view AI ultimately as an opportunity to really improve our insights into our customers and improve their insurance experience. And that would be the end state. That would be the touchdown, as it were, in terms of our application of artificial intelligence. Let me give you a couple of areas where AIG is incorporating and using AI itself. The first is claims adjudication process. We've started to embed AI into some of our less complex type of claims and policies. Think about personal line property claims. We've built processes now end-to-end that can eliminate the involvement of any humans from AIG if our client so desires. That provides our customers with a greater degree of objectivity or perhaps better put, a perception on their part that there's less subjectivity in the adjudication of their claim. We take the view that AI will never replace underwriters, right? It's not an either-or proposition. We look at AI as a very powerful tool that underwriters will be able to access. It will complement the process, but there will always be, at least in the large, complex commercial underwriting space, a role for human adjudication and assessment of risk. The more exciting part of what would come next would be using AI for measuring and identifying accumulations of risk, for using AI to improve our CAT modeling, whether the CAT catastrophes we're talking about are natural catastrophes like hurricane, overland flood, wildfire, or whether they're man-made catastrophes. And ultimately, what we want to get at with AI, if we're entirely successful, is not just the assessment of risk by an industry or a segment of the industry. We want to be able to truly assess the risk profile of each and every client. And if we can do that, then we can improve the insurance experience. We can tailor insurance products specifically to a client, and we can actually develop new insurance products that we wouldn't otherwise have possibly been able to think of ourselves.
We've actually been on this earth as a human race for only about 200,000 years. The estimated lifetime of Earth scientifically is about 7.8 billion years. We're currently on that trajectory, around 4.58 billion years left, but based on the dramatic rise of all these dynamics coming together and the challenge of sustainability, people are predicting that we may only have 1 billion years left. Oxford just finished a recent piece of research, and they've estimated that if you've been reading some of these things, that over 50% of all U.S. jobs will be gone in less than 20 years. We've already seen the advent of robo-advisors and how they're impacting the financial industry in terms of being able to get my personal profile and actually make really good stock picks, where we have to think hard about designing the human into the experience. And that's where I think we are going awry. So we decided to focus in on sales professionals because not only with those backdrops, 30% of sales professionals suffer from attention deficit disorder. So you compound the cognitive dissonance as a human race, 30% of them have attention deficit disorder. Marketing is constantly throwing content and stimulating them. They're not listening either, by the way, if you haven't already noticed. And they are incredibly attracted to humans, at least the best hunters. They're very relationship driven. However, with the speed of data and the proliferation, they're having an incredible inability to focus on the right thing. So that's where AI can come in, guides you, collecting, just like Uber does, all the intelligence to the best destination. I can get you the right point on time with the right person, with the right buyer profile. And by the way, don't waste your time on this dud. So that's what we've built. We've proven it out. It works.